Here we go. Make it stick. Final bit of this ChatGPT quiz for Chapter 7. Before I summarize your performance, I want you to reflect for 60 seconds. What did you find easiest in this chapter? I didn't find really that much. I don't think of stuff as easy or hard, but I feel like there was something that was actually kind of hard to understand. Neuroplasticity, no. IQ mutable, no. Brain training, not really. Deliberate practice, I think it was a little vague. I didn't really find that much quote unquote easy. It's not that complicated or technical of a book. All right, let's do the second part though. I think the hardest part was wrapping my head around the authors saying that training one thing doesn't lead to any difference in abilities / intelligence in other areas. They said this referring to the findings of the brain training / working memory experiments. I find this paradoxical, contradictory to other things that I've learned from this book, such as the more information that you have, the more potential connections you can make, and so learn faster and deeper, as well as the concept of knowledge transfer in general, and my idea of meta knowledge. That is, learning anything makes learning anything after that faster and deeper and more efficient and effective. All right, work on this brain dumping here. If I tested you on this again next week, what topic would you most likely forget? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I think I got a pretty solid handle on this stuff. That's a very high quality self-assessment, reflective nuance, and showing real metacognitive awareness. Let me give you a performance breakdown. Evaluation chapter 7, increase your abilities. Recall and understanding, grade A. You remember nearly all major points with clarity. You accurately described growth mindset, motivation, deliberate practice, and belief systems. You didn't just repeat ideas, you explained, applied, and critiqued them. Okay, application and synthesis, A-A. Your reframing of the math student and sports analogy showed deep application. You drew some accurate parallels to neuroscience and chunking theory. Your struggle with the working memory / brain training contradiction was honest and actually sophisticated question. Metacognition, A+. You identified your own cognitive dissonance You questioned the text, didn't passively accept it, and synthesized it with your prior knowledge. That is how you make knowledge stick. Let's address the working memory / transfer paradox. You're absolutely right to notice this contradiction. If knowledge is so transferable and everything counts, why does training one domain like working memory games not generalize? Here's the synthesis. Far transfer is hard. The book is skeptical of brain training tools because they don't often cross domains. Getting better at a memory game doesn't mean getting better at reasoning. But deep domain knowledge does support future learning. And the more you know, the more scaffolding you have for new info. Your idea of meta-knowledge is real. Learning how to learn, how to reflect, how to regulate effort. Those are skills that transfer. So training working memory does not equal global intelligence boost. Right, I agree with that. But developing metacognitive awareness, strategic mindset, and deep knowledge does compound. You spotted attention in the literature, and your instincts were right. That's tier plus 3+ thinking. Your next steps, if you're game. We're done. We done. Thanks. Let's do Anki cards now. All right, let's jump into Anki. Oh, I didn't start with Anki, so we might have some flashcards due right now. Of course we do. What are the 4 flashcards due? What are the 6 sections of Chapter 6 get beyond learning styles? Active learning from the get-go. Active learning from the get-go. I know there's going to be like learning differences that matter, learning theories. Man, I don't know. The takeaway. Successful intelligence, dynamic testing, structure building, rule versus example learning, the takeaway. Wow. What are the main ideas of Chapter 5, Avoid Illusions and Knowing? What's the main idea in one sentence? All right. Objectively accurate understanding of one's abilities and weaknesses / what he knows, what he doesn't know is pretty critical. It's critical for continuous learning and improvement. However, this self-understanding can be easily led astray through memory distortions, illusions, biases. Okay, as well as study. All right, that was rough. The phone died. We're back. Okay, let's get back into Anki. Here we go. What are the 9 sections and 9 subsections of Chapter 4, Embrace Difficulties? How learning occurs, encoding, consolidation, retrieval, extended learning, updated retrieval cues. Easier isn't better, how effort helps, reconsolidating mastery, reconsolidating memories, broadening mastery, improving versatility, priming the mind for learning, fostering conceptual learning, and okay, I need to restart here. Broadening mastery, reconsolidating memory, improving versatility, fostering conceptual learning, priming the mind for learning. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me, dude. What is the last one? I don't know. Okay, after that would be other learning strategies that incorporate desirable difficulties, an example of generative learning, failure in the myth-verse learning, undesirable difficulties to take away. Creating mental models. You gotta be kidding me, dude. What is Chapter 2 of Make It Stick about in one sentence? The hell is Chapter 2? To learn, retrieve. It's like retrieval practice leads to learning. That is, pulling things out of your own memory leads to, it's more effortful than rereading in mass practice, but it leads to more learning. Most effective way to strengthen learning and long-term retention. We're going to call it good. What are the 6 sections of Chapter 6 get beyond learning styles? We're going to save this for tomorrow because that's mass practice in some ways. Here we go. Increase your abilities. let's add some cards. What is the main idea of chapter 7 of Make It Stick? Which is what? Increase your abilities. About in one sentence. Learning physically changes the brain. Effortful learning physically changes the brain. Mnemonics, grit, persistence. I had a good summary. I'm just going to pull it out here. Mindset and characteristics to increase intelligence and abilities plus mnemonics. Okay. Mindset and characteristics to increase intelligence and abilities plus mnemonic devices. All right, that's good enough. What else do we need for the chapter? Neuroplasticity, nah. The brain training, nah. The IQ mutable, nah. Yeah, there was some extra stuff. Those are, I don't need to do any of those. How about, is there something about like empirically backed ways to increase intelligence? Like if you're a young age? Yeah, there was. There's a lot of stuff in here. Fatty acids, certain nutrition, rolling poor children in like more stimulating environments in schools, talking to children, asking the questions. I don't even know. I don't really care about that stuff. That's all right. I mean, do we need it? No, I'm just going to keep moving forward. If you could give me one Anki flashcard that was succinct, and highest ROI for this chapter, what would it be? What belief drives long-term skill growth? And how does it reshape behavior and brain structure? Believing ability/intelligence is malleable fuels effort, persistence, and strategy, leading to brain rewiring and deeper learning. This growth mindset reframes struggle as an opportunity, making challenge a signal to engage, not to retreat. Sure, man, we'll do it. What core belief drives long-term skill growth, and how does it? So, believing that intelligence/ability is malleable, fuels effort, persistence, and strategy, leading to brain rewiring and deeper learning. How does it reshape behavior and brain structure? This growth mindset believing intelligence/ability is malleable fuels long-term growth by encouraging or incentivizing persistence, strategy, and effort. Effort, persistence, and strategy. This leads to brain development in areas that are worked on / trained. All right. That's got to be it for that. All right, that's it for chapter 7. Boom, we're done. Chapter 8. Make it sick. All right. Let's get a preview of the last chapter. It is the longest, but it is indeed the last. It actually might not be the longest. No, it is the longest. By far. Alright. Make it stick. Just more to learn then. Here we go. We're gonna have, this is gonna be, no, it's gonna be one of these huge fucking flashcards. This first section is learning tips for students. Subsection 1, practice retrieving. So this is gonna tie it all together. New learning from memory. How it feels. Awkward and frustrating. Let's go. Let's go. Space out your retrieval practice. Interleave the study of different problem types. Other effective study strategies. Elaboration. Other effective. I don't know if we're going to do an Anki flashcard on this. This is just too much straight up rote memorization. Strategies. First up, elaboration. Generation. Reflection. Interesting. They all are like shun. Calibration. That's the interesting. Oh no. Oh no. Calibration. Mnemonic devices. How the hell did that get on here? I thought that was not for learning. It was for helping you organize information you've already learned. That's just totally contradictory. Whatever. Oh my gosh. Brief stories of 2 students who use these strategies to rise to the top of their classes. Wow. Okay. Wow. Here we go. Michael Young. Dude, this chapter is so fat. It's unbelievable. Medical student. I'm just going to say no, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna have to find some other way of making this Anki flashcard. Where's the second student? Oh, there he is. Timothy Fellows. That's so funny. Timothy Fellows. Intro Psych students. Tips for lifelong learners. This is the second section. That first section was enormous. Tip for lifelong learners. Retrieval practice. We already talked about this. This is going to be the same things. What the hell? Generation? That's number 2? Interesting. Reflection. Elaboration. These are largely the same. Elaboration. Tips for teachers. Explain to students how learning works. Explain to students how learning works. Whew. Teach students how to study. Create desirable difficulties in the classroom. Create desirable difficulties in the classroom. All right, how much time we got? A minute and a half. So be transparent. Oh my gosh, here we go. Mary Pat Wenderoff, biology professor, University of Washington. Oh my gosh, bro. Am I gonna really do this? Transparency. Testing groups. Free recall. Summary sheets. Learning paragraphs. Bloom's taxonomy of learning. Closing the achievement gap. Closing the achievement gap in the sciences. Oh my gosh. Michael D. Matthews, psychology professor. U.S. Military Academy at West Point. Okay, we're going to finish up outlining the chapter tomorrow. That's an enormous chapter. All right, talk to you tomorrow. See you.